Gonna redo a video here on these QuadTrac undercarriages. So these undercarriages, this particular style, which is the steel frame, so it's steel on one end, cast on the other. That's where the break typically happens. Today the customer had one where it cracked here, went all the way around into his other hole. There was a serial number break in 2017 which is how we ended up with the new ones actually. They went away from the steel on cast and just started making an entire cast unit. It's possible that that's a replacement, but you can't find it in any catalog or anything. So right now, basically, they say that this piece is no longer available. So they don't support it because it's not something that they produce, on a new unit. So anyway, the purpose of this is an educational video because we like to sell things in what's the fastest repair time. And obviously, even with the idler wheels on this, that would be the fastest repair time. But that makes this a $35,000 repair. And we're also realistic to know that no one's going to do that. So that's where it gets complicated. What do you remove and at what level do you stop? So the easy part was just like what we did. We removed the idler wheels. Full disclosure, we have new idler wheels if you need some. So the first thing that's the first thing we took off. The second thing would be we could lighten it up with removing the bogey wheels. Now the customer today wanted bogeys left on it because he's trying to get back to the field as fast as possible. And it also, installing the bearing seals, etc. He didn't know how long that would take. He didn't know, if he could get all the parts. But that's the next level. So then you have your shafts there, and then your beam. So that's the next level that we can take that to. The next step after that would be to remove the suspension wedges on the front and the rear, which is going to make the beam drop out. So then you would have, the beam would be off, the suspension wedges would be off, your axles would be off, your wheels would be off, and you would have a beam with a front and rear idler shaft. This is called a pivot, actually, in the catalog. So the thing you run into with those pieces is that we can and do sell some of those complete, but buying individual parts for any of these, there's a ton of serial numbers. There's a ton of changes along the way. So anything from the old STX all the way up through, as long as you used it complete, you don't have any issues. Whether it's an ag tractor, scraper tractor, old style, new style, whatever you want to call it, complete is the only way we will sell it, because then that eliminates any fitment issues. And like what we did today, the customer had a older 550 or maybe 535 QuadTrac, and the one we sold him off of was a 580. So significant year model difference. We just gave him the serial number off the 580 so that when he needs parts for this one particular one, he gets the right stuff. So that's important to remember, because if you ordered it for the older version, you may or may not get the right piece. So that's another way that we can lighten up the price. But if you think about it, everything we're removing is added labor back on your end. And if it's an off season, it doesn't matter. If it's an off season, you're going to just fix your own, and that's fair. But during season, you have to understand where the benefit is of the bigger pieces. So now if we've removed those, of course, we have to remove the front pivot to get to the tension link. There's a spring inside, there's a cylinder inside, all the way to get to a bare housing. which we're going to do. We're going to take one of these apart just so we think that it makes it easier to discuss and talk about. And we'll have at least one of everything off. We can do some good imaging with it. And we can actually do some real-time, some real-time testing on the time. I mean, we've got CNH service times, so we can use those plus us doing them and figure out where that is. How much time does it take? You know, we've done the axles pretty well if you're keeping up with us. We know that the axles take 40 hours, and in a dealership, we know that that's going to be 2 weeks. That's not going to be 5 days. So here you're going to have the same scenario. If you can't do the work or you're not familiar with the work, actually, here's a good example. If you don't have the tools, and I will give a plug to the quad seal guy. Now, I'm giving a plug to him because I need him to get back to me. He's got the seals, bearings, tools, and everything to set up. And we need some of those because you can't get them through case. And we've got several that have fire that if we want to repair them or put them back together, we've got to have the tools. So if you know that guy, tag him in the comments here. I've already sent him an email. So prior to 2017, this will work on all of them. And again, just trying to educate the customer to, I mean, when the customer calls, it's just like the axle. How much for all of it? You know. So all of it, good example. This was what I say, $35,000. We sold one today for $17.50. Excuse me, $17,500. It had used wheels, but they were usable. Hose were good. Had a little bit of fire on one of these, and we just swapped it out with another one. So no idler wheels, but that's what he paid for it. Of course, he's in harvest, and he's got to be going. His is broken, not broken too, but it's going to be. He's trying to harvest, and he needs his tractor. So just trying to continue that educational piece. If we can help you out, let us know.